And so it's really good to hear from our Democratic side and the sort of the strength with which the message is being delivered about what we are going to continue to do. That now that we've taken on capped insulin for seniors at $35, now we need to do that for everyone. And this message from our party is very heartening to me because I think it resonates with voters in West Virginia.
John Henry was a little man, sit on his father's knee. He was long and loud and lonesome cry, oh, the hammer be the death of me, hammer be the death of me.
Hi, it's Daniel Bennett with Currently an Authentic WV podcast, and we're doing our second hit with Troy Miller, who's in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. Thanks yesterday for doing that, and this will be posted a day later. But in any case, Troy, how's it been?
It's been it's chaos, but it's good chaos mostly, and it's really hard to miss it. It's really hard to be in the wrong place here in for the DNC. Whether you're at all of the events, at all the caucuses, which I registered personally for a bunch of the caucuses and found once I was here that there's a lot more also to do, and that we have other people from our delegation are doing those caucuses. We have enough of a delegation here from West Virginia that we're covering as much as is humanly possible with a couple dozen people. And so we are all reporting to each other about what's going on. We're all meeting people from all over the country. As a Democrat in West Virginia, people are loving to hear from us, and we're loving to hear from them. I think it kind of clicked with me yesterday when they are doing the Republicans for Harris type talks all through the convention at the United Center, that it is the United Center. That's what this is about. And it is a unity that is not just within our party from, the sort of the conservative establishment and the progressives. That is happening. It is really heartening to see. I'll say from my perspective, I think the what used to be considered the more conservative Democrats are getting on board with the message that we are trying to deliver in West Virginia, which is this needs to be a party for working people. This needs to be a party for unions. This needs to be a party that is taking on corporate greed and Wall Street and the greedy liars who are picking all of our pockets, right or left of the spectrum. It doesn't matter what party affiliation you are. Everybody is getting robbed by basically corporate greed. And hearing these messages again and again, I appreciate so much that there are so many Republican leaders coming out and endorsing Harris. And what I'm enjoying even more is that, yes, there's a lot of conversation about why she's better than Trump or why Trump is so bad. And by the way, right across from our hotel here is his tower. I'm not sure if that's visible in the background, but it's also about what we are going to deliver, what we have done over the last 4 years nationally, the tie-breaking votes that Vice President Harris has cast, like I was talking about yesterday, which I hadn't realized how many of those there actually were, because all the top line ones are about the American Rescue Plan and the Inflation Reduction Act, these types of things. But there is so much legislation that President Biden, Vice President Harris have been able to get through that are helping people endure through an economy where, America is doing better than pretty much all of the developed world in the post-pandemic world, but people are still struggling, and people in West Virginia are still struggling. And so it's really good to hear from our Democratic side and the sort of the the strength with which the message is being delivered about what we are going to continue to do. That now that we've taken on capped insulin for seniors at $35, now we need to do that for everyone. And this message from our party is very heartening to me because I think it resonates with voters in West Virginia. All 55 counties voted for Bernie Sanders back in 2016 in the primary. And I don't think that's a coincidence. He was the other candidate at that time who was saying, hey, this system is rigged. You're struggling and it's not your fault. Well, Trump was the other one saying that, and he was full of it. I'll keep this FCC compliant and all this, but he was full of it, but he was still saying that come the election. Well, now we have a full party who has picked up on that people are struggling. It's not their fault. There are greedy corporate interests who are trying to, again, pick our pockets at every turn, steal our wages. It is incredible to me that yesterday or 2 days ago, the report came out that our current governor and U.S. Senate candidate, Jim Justice, the Greenbrier was just stealing people's money that was supposed to go towards healthcare, and it wasn't going towards their healthcare. Their healthcare is going to expire. That's one small case. It's very personal in West Virginia and in Greenbrier County, but that is happening all over the place. Unchecked corporate greed and the billionaires who say that, none of us can have anything because they need lower taxes and they can't be a billionaire if they don't have lower taxes. The message here at the Democratic Convention is clear that we are done with that. We're done with trickle-down economics. Even the Democrats who are embracing trickle-down economics in the past, they were wrong. And it's time for them to either admit that or go join the other side. But from the Republicans who are speaking out here, it seems like they are also realizing that expanding what we did with the New Deal almost 100 years ago is not some radical agenda. That's continuing the promise of America. That's continuing the promise of America that we need, and we can only get through unity. We can only get by acknowledging that our American government, our West Virginian government, is not our enemy. Does not have to be our enemy as long as we elect people who are working for us. Right? That's how democracy works. That's how it. If we want to use the Republican language, that's how a republic works.
Thanks. And
there's a lot of background noise.
No worries. I'm going to put up a link to the letter that was sent on August 16th from the firm that is dealing with the healthcare issues and the potential suspension of healthcare to the workers at Greenbrier. I will include that and links to the news stories about that. By the way, I could see the building in the back. Let me just quickly ask you, apparently at night, the Democratic National Convention folks are lighting it up with messages, so to speak. Have you seen any of those messages there at night?
I've seen the pictures of them. I did not see them personally. But they are, they're very clever. Yep. Some of them are, again, not FCC appropriate, but still accurate, I would say. And it's, I think people are realizing that that guy's full of it, and he's always been out for himself, and he has no interest in any of us who aren't him. He only has interest for himself. And the stronger that the Democratic Party becomes, the more you can see him flailing, the more you can see him losing the plot of his own narrative and just trying to throw anything at the wall. 2 nights ago, they were outraged that Vice President Harris was wearing a tan suit. That seems familiar, and it didn't matter back then either.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Is there any message from the West Virginia delegation or anything that you have planned for the next day or two? That
I will say, I heard from multiple people in West Virginia and outside West Virginia last night after the roll call vote happened, and we had the oldest a black woman member of our delegation, Jean Evans-Moore, make part of the roll call, and the youngest member of our delegation, Catherine Prather, who do the other part. And it's impressive, the diversity that we have in the state that we are recognizing as a party, that we are putting forward into leadership and into positions where people will see them. And we are no longer just the party of one man who is holding a U.S. Senate seat, who will go unnamed at this point. But we are a party of inclusion. We are a party that is fighting for people of all ages. We're a party that's fighting for Social Security to be there for Catherine. We know that it's not going to go insolvent as long as we expand benefits. And we're a party that's we're ready to fight for every West Virginian. We're ready to fight for every West Virginian, whether they vote for us or not. And we're going to continue to take that message to everybody in West Virginia. We're going to reach out. And what I will also say is, you can see the optimism in the eyes of the delegates from other states as our delegates are talking to them about what's going on in West Virginia, what we're fighting for, what's in our platform, which I encourage everybody to go check out, the West Virginia Democratic Platform. It's designed as basically a PowerPoint slide deck. It's meant to be accessible. It's meant to be able to be shared. And, it's starting to feel like a new day. It's starting to feel like we're all in this together, and it's starting to feel like we're not fighting each other, and we're fighting the small minority of corporate interests and greedy liars. And I hearken back to Henry Wallace wrote an op-ed in 1944, I want to say. I'm drawing this off the top of my head, talking about the other side and saying what fascism will look like when it comes to America. And he said, and I'll paraphrase it, they will call themselves super patriots, but they oppose every freedom that our Constitution stands for. They will call themselves, fighters for the working class, but they are actually the spokespeople for vested interest. They will basically drape themselves in the cross and the flag and expect everyone to get behind them. They would find every free person in America through economic royalism. And that's really the phrase that I think is starting to come back. We are fighting oligarchs. We are fighting economic royalists. We know this in West Virginia. We have one as our governor right now. And the working class, unions, people, families, farmers, we are ready to stand up and fight back and take the rights and the freedoms that the U.S. Constitution started the course on. And we're now taking up that mantle, and we're going to deliver for every man, woman, child, and family in West Virginia and in America. And I don't know
All
how many different ways I can say that, but thank you so much for the opportunity.
No problem. Just thank you again for reporting there from Chicago. Troy, why don't you just tell, as we leave, how people can reach out to you, especially when you get back here next week.
You can, in the meantime, you can find me on Twitter. It's at Troy N. Miller. You can find me on Instagram at Troy N. Miller WV, I want to say. You can find all of that on my Facebook. But most importantly, my website, Troy4WV.com. That's TROYFORWV.com. All my social media is findable there. You can email me directly right from the top of the page. And I look forward to hearing from everyone and anyone who listens to this. And thank you again for the platform to do this. Now it sounds like I'm going to go enjoy some Chicago jazz at the beach.
Sounds great. Take care.
Thank you, Daniel.
To you later. All right. Bye.
Talk to you soon.